Hi there, this is David, and welcome to New RPG News. We have a lot of stuff to talk about this week, from some Dragon Quest stuff to some news of the weird to a harassment campaign. But first, we're going to be starting off with a rumor, like all good news shows do. And this is talking about the next Pokemon game, saying that it's probably going to be related to Pokemon Black and White. And this is a very short article, literally just this paragraph right here, so I'm just going to read it to y'all. It says that two prolific leakers, Riddler, Coup, and Central Leaks, have been teasing that the next Pokemon game could have ties to the Nintendo DS games Pokemon Black and White. The two accounts both suggested that it could be a new game set in Unova, rather than just be remakes. Comic book points towards the lack of Gen 5 Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet and its upcoming DLCs compared to all the other generations that were covered, and then they point towards Pokemon Sword and Shield general lack of Generation 4 Pokemon, which was addressed by the releases of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, as well as Pokemon Legends Arceus. So yeah, this is just a rumor, but if you are into Pokemon, then yeah. And I've got to say, as far as Pokemon goes, I did purchase Black and White for the Nintendo DS, and I think that I purchased Black and White too. I'd have to go back and check my collection, and I do remember enjoying them. Next up, we have a pretty cool story, because last time we were talking about how, 87% of all retro games are just completely unavailable for purchase. Any game released before 2010 is really hard to get unless you pay exorbitant prices, you know? But Xbox looks like they are going to change that. It says right here that Xbox gets over 1,300 retro games with the biggest content drop in video game history. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about Xbox, but I have to give credit where credit's due. So what they've done here is they've added something called the Antstream Arcade Catalog, and it allows PS1 and Nintendo games to be playable over on the Xbox. It is a cloud gaming service though, so there's that. And it also says that it is subscription-based too. It says a year subscription costs $30, while a lifetime pass edition is up for $80. And I've got to say, $80 to play 1,300 retro games isn't the worst price I've ever heard, considering most games back on the NES back in the 80s cost $80 anyway. So yeah, if you are a lover of retro games and you love to play them on console, this might be something to look into. It says it gives you unrestricted access to some of the best games ever made, and new games are going to be added every single month too. So I'm not exactly sure what games are on there. There is an achievement list, and you could look it up yourself and see, because there are thousands, and I'm not going to go through thousands of games here or whatever, but I just wanted to make you aware of this, especially considering what we talked about last week and how hard it is to get a hold of retro games. It looks like some people out there, at least, are trying to make that easier, so that's a really good thing. Now this happened a while ago, but I think it's absolutely horrible. A Persona 5 voice actress left Twitter following a harassment campaign towards her. Ugh, makes me sick to my stomach. It says, earlier this week, Persona 5 actress Erica Lindbeck left Twitter after a ton of harassment. She was the voice actress for Futaba. And basically what happened was that some YouTuber took AI and stole her voice and replicated her voice into her singing various songs, and it says doing other things that they had not consented to do. Whenever Erica asked this YouTuber to take down the video, they obliged. But then it says others did not take so kindly to it. Many thought that it was an absurd request, re-uploaded the video, and got upset with her. Then it says the actor opted to just leave Twitter instead of continuing to drag things out. Other actors, like Josh Keaton, chimed in and defended Erica Lindbeck. This is wild to me. AI is scary. Maybe it's me being old. I don't know. But to me, it's very scary, and it's very frightening to see, I guess, almost like deep fakes. You know what I mean? Seeing these things that can happen, these kind of fake videos, and it is 100% in her right to say, hey, I didn't do that, I didn't make that, and you're using my voice, something as personal as my voice, without my consent, and then for her to be harassed when she rightfully asks for it to get taken down is... it's just unconscionable to me. I think it's terrible, and I'm very, very upset that this has happened. I think that it was a very valid, very normal request for her to say, hey, please take down this video, and, I'm really happy that the YouTuber obliged and said sure, but for other people to think that that was somehow a bad thing for her to do, and to harass her? That's terrible, and y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. And here's some pretty cool news. Dragon Quest Treasures was Switch exclusive for the longest time, but now it has been available for the PC. This came out last December, I think it was like December 11th or something, for the Switch, and now you can get it over on the Steam. Also, I ended up buying this, so I got it digitally at first, because Square sent me a code, obviously, but then I saw that it was available for only $30 physically on Amazon recently, and totally double dipped, and I totally picked it up because it's Dragon Quest, and you gotta do what you gotta do. But if you don't have a Switch and you still want to play this game, it's related to the Monsters series, so it's more of like an action RPG, you can grab it over on the PC. And it also says that if you buy it from launch up until July 28th, you'll receive the following in-game items, such as 10 Chimera Wings, 15 Better Buddy Bullets, 15 Full Heal Pellets as well. And then it says the digital deluxe edition includes 3 monster allies such as the Great Sabercat, Ruby Golem, and Icy Dragling as well. So yeah, if you are a fan of the Monsters series, Dragon Quest, action RPGs, or you're just looking forward to the next Dragon Quest Monsters game, which is also coming out this December, then you might want to pick this one up to catch up. We have a new action RPG that's been announced. It's called Monolith Requiem of the Ancients, coming out for the PS5, Xbox, PS4, Switch, and PC sometime next year. There's no firm release date right now. Basically, it's talking about, a story, good versus evil, but what really looks cool about it, I think, is that you have, this runic power it talks about. It's called the Runic Swarm, and you can use it to, take objects and crush your enemies with them, and the world itself just looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It says that you can explore the mystical world of Galice, searching its majestic landscapes, mysterious ruins, and ancient temples for the secrets left behind by ancient civilization, or you can also shift into the spirit realm where echoes of the past linger, granting passage to inaccessible places, perhaps containing answers that will allow you to save the future. You can switch between equipped weapons at any time, even mid-combo, to deliver unyielding critical hits, so that's a lot of fun. And then this Runic Swarm thing. It says, harness the power of the Runic Swarm and arcane energy used to materialize monolithic constructs as weapons or tools. You can use it to summon companions, shields, and decoys to gain the upper hand in combat, or unleash charge attacks to create devastating finishers, such as the Wall Crush and the Runic Coffin. This, to me, is one to keep your eye on. This one looks pretty fun. Another new game announced, but this one kind of bothers me. Oink Games announces RPG Sato and the Moon Warriors for Switch and PC, and a Kickstarter is going to launch this weekend. So let's talk about this. What is a Kickstarter for? A Kickstarter is a tool that is utilized by indie developers who do not have the budget in order to create their game, okay? And that's fine with me. If you need to use Kickstarter in order to kickstart your game, that's fine. But let's look at this game and this company. It says that Sato and the Moon Warriors shares its unique world with Legendary Warriors, which was chosen as one of the App Store's Best of 2015 and nominated for the Best Visual Design Award at Bit Summit 2015. So this company has been creating games for over 8 years at least, if not longer, and their games were awarded for being great. One of the best App Store games, best visual and design, all that kind of stuff. But they still need a Kickstarter? What? That doesn't make any sense to me. A company that has been putting out these games for this long should have enough finances behind them to create their own game, not rely on the fan base, not rely on the general public to fund their game. If they believe in their game and they want to put it out, and you've been doing this for 8+ years with award-winning titles behind you, so you obviously have tons of money in the bank in order to do this, why are you relying on Kickstarter? This just seems very... it doesn't seem kosher to me. It's not adding up. Something is not adding up in my head here. Speaking of things that are kind of bothersome to me, Star Ocean, the second story R, voice acting options have now been detailed. So you would think that with this remake that they would have remade the voice acting too, but they didn't, at least not for the English version of the game. So here is what you have 3 options for your voice acting. It says that you can get the English voice acting from the PSP version. So they're just porting over the PSP version straight into this. So that tells me either there won't be any new content, or whatever new content there will be just won't be voiced. And it also tells me that Ashton's poor stupid dragons are gonna have those god-awful names too. Ugh. Otherwise, you can bring in new Japanese voice recordings from the original PS1 cast, or the Japanese voice acting from the PSP version, and I don't understand Japanese, so I always choose English. So that's just me, and honestly, I hate to say it, but if you're not gonna re-record the voice acting, or at least put in, this to me even says that they're not even going to redo the script, or try to make the translation a little bit better, or anything else like that. Not that I felt that the translation was bad, but, to me it just screams laziness, cash grabbiness. You know what I mean? If you're gonna redo the voice acting for the Japanese audience, why aren't you gonna do it for the English audience too? So we've reached that part of the episode and we're getting kind of news of the weird, and I have 3 stories on this. First up, a fan has now uploaded an English walkthrough of the Japan-only Xeno Saga Pied Piper, which was a mobile telephone game only released in Japan, that kind of delved into Ziggy's backstory from the Xeno Saga series. And it says this was to celebrate the 19th anniversary of the Xeno Saga spin-off. Then down here, this just talks about what this actually is if you wanted to watch this closed-captioned English walkthrough. It says, set 100 years before the events of Xeno Saga Episode 1, Pied Piper laid the groundwork for several plotlines in the series, most notably the backstory of the cyborg Ziggy. In April, the developer and publisher Gmode asked fans which old mobile titles they would like to see on modern platforms, leading many people to request Xeno Saga Pied Piper. I remember reporting on this way back. Gmode has re-released other mobile phone games from modern platforms, such as Shin Megami Tensei Gaiden, The Last Bible series, which you haven't played those are actually really good, especially Last Bible 3. I think that the only one that we got here in America was Revelation of the Demon Slayer on the Game Boy Color, though. But anyway, that's another story for a different time. I don't know if we'll be getting this. It seems like kind of a long shot, but if you want to see what the whole story is about in English, y'all can do that now. And our next news of the weird story, Dragon Quest II is being ported to the Sega Master System. Yeah, you heard me right, the Sega. I don't know. This is being developed by a hobbyist named Massey, who is a Japanese hacker, essentially, who has created this port of the NES Dragon Warrior 2, but over to the Sega Master System. They've been working on it since 2022, so for roughly a year or so, and they posted over 300 updates to Twitter since then. And a lot of these are just kind of like standing around showing world map music and things like that. This one, I'm not really sure where it is, because if you look at the world map, you can stop it. Pause. You can see like a little village right there, and if this is supposed to be Laurasia, which it looks like it is, I don't know why there's a village there, because that wasn't there in the NES version, and if you look at the video, this is Laurasia, so that's interesting. Some other interesting things that I noticed was in this battling one, there's 5 party members. I don't know if that's like placeholders or what, or if they've decided that, like, the game is too hard, so we're going to give you more party members or something. Like, this might be, like, an entirely new version. I don't know. Like, the whole thing just looks really frickin' cool. And hopefully, not only will it come out, but it'll also be translated into English so that fans of Dragon Warrior can enjoy it too, because I'm a super fan. And honestly, Dragon Warrior 2, for whatever reason, I know that it gets a bad rap, but like, it's actually one of my favorites in the series, insofar as it's just so unique, and the music is great, and there's just like a soft spot for me in this game. I don't know what it is about it, but there is definitely a place in my heart for Dragon Warrior 2. And in our final story of the day, we're talking about Neopets. I have no idea what a Neopet is. I did some very limited research on this. I assume it's like a Tamagotchi. I really don't know what it is. But anyway, this caught my eye because it was just so ironic and just so funny. It says that Neopets was owned by like this big corporate conglomeration, and the old CEO was in charge of some NFT game, and then they like were able to get out from under this like massive company, and then they were like, hey, you know what? Screw NFTs, we hate them, that's trash, that's garbage, we're going back to our roots, which I think a lot of other game companies could learn a thing or two from the Neopet team right here. It says that it was rescued from corporate shuttering and is now independent for the first time since 2000. This has been around since 2005? Have I ever heard of it? I don't even know what this is. So basically, it says that they were operating at a loss for the past 10 years, but for the first time, it is now an independent company again. It looks like Viacom, isn't it the TV people? They bought Neopets for $160 million near its peak in 2005, and then sold it to Jumpstart, which was later acquired by a Chinese game developer, NetDragon. That's why the NFTs are in here. So then they had this kind of NFT project. Oh, this is this. So this guy, Law, he was the CEO of the company. And it says, despite Law's previous role as the head of the Neopets NFT game just a few months ago, he actually said that Neopets has all the right ingredients for Web3 gaming and $4 million in funding that they got from crypto companies. Now, the now independent studio says it is immediately transitioning away from the Neopets Metaverse NFT game, and instead it's going to reuse those assets to create a new game called World of Neopets, a life simulation game which will allow you to live just like a classic Neopet. I assume like the classic Neopet games from 2005, I guess. I don't know. But I just think that this is interesting. This is just fascinating because, you know, there are some big game companies out there who shall remain nameless, who still love their NFTs. But other companies are, you know, they have a brain cell in their head, and they're able to say, you know what, NFTs suck. Screw NFTs. So hopefully some of these other companies might get their heads out of their asses and transition away from NFTs too. Because if the Neopet people can do it, then the bigger companies can do it too. So that's it for this week's new RPG news. Let me know what you're most excited about. Let me know what story kind of resonated with you. Let me know if there's anything that you want me to cover for next week. And as always, have a good day.